final map.
Nah, good shout on the Iceman Isaac, though. Really good at finding themselves in the final circle when it comes to the solo YOLO. Could find some success here. But for the teams that have to give it their all, this is going to get really interesting. You said it best earlier in that show. Tactical Brit only had been a team for less than 24 hours before they were able to take the win on the outskirts of Akdar Village, but we're locked in. The 150 screen, everyone's POV is here. It's the wild card game, Ghosh. We're ready.
Everybody at home, take a collective big deep breath. We're gonna hang out, we're gonna watch this final map together, and there's gonna be little to no action for about half the lobby because everyone's gonna be hanging out. I will say though, comparatively to solo YOLO, this wildcard drop, it does get a little mixy. We see some people dropping immediately upon the gates being open. You saw Drakota, the first one out of the plane. Is that an ill omen or a good one? I guess only time will tell.
Yes, we're going to have to wait and see. The plane line so far to the west, going over caves, on up. Man, that's going to be really tough for the teams that like to land out towards the eastern side. Al Mazrah City, though, just have to float on into the air and kind of see where it's going to go. But the strat, right? You have to really hope that your macro is on point. Talking about rotations, the strategy of how you are going to predict where the zones are pulling. And I think a lot of those teams that are typically consistent with making it towards the end game will find success here. But Mireille, you shouted them out, Ghosh, and here they are kicking things off with a nice 3v3.
Yeah, this is so interesting because in this wildcard match, you don't really want to take fights unless you have to. But at the same time, it's like, well, if we can wipe a team from our POI, we're gonna have a free wrap, like a free rotate. We won't have to worry about a team behind us. This is the Regiment squad with Maxity, Sailor Kevy, of course, Taj. Taj would love to head out with Regiment. Actually, Taj played with Army Gaming for several Warzone tournaments that I've been a part of. So an opportunity here, but it does look like it's going to end up in a team fight. You see Mutex squad being eliminated first, but no, Don Lucky's going to get the better of his opponent, sneakily grabbing one, cleaning it up. See what they can do from here.
Hear me out. That was at the hands of Scummin and Unrational, taking out Mutex. Huskerrs, bro, if I'm a Huskerrs, I want to lock it in here. I realized very early on that they needed the win on that final map, and my heart was like breaking. But let's check in, see what's going on with Scummin and Unrational. They got Colony 2K and Watch Waldo over here. Looks like they've already lost out on Trey, who has found themselves in the gulag. So a nice 2v2.
All right. Watch Waldo had a great tournament today. Really put up a great fight, but he's going to try to take this contest and wins it. Immediately sending Unrational and Scummin to the gulag to fight for their lives. Talk about the pressure in that gulag right now. You lose that, you both lose it, your whole team loses it. See you in the lobby. We will not be seeing you in London.
Mutex won his gulag. Jesus Jr. lost their gulag. Gonna have a tough route ahead for them.
Okay, Realize getting involved quickly, dropping one. Cleans it up. We've got a 3v1 here. It's so funny because the players and the teams are going to be thinking totally different in terms of strategy, right? Like you're playing the game so drastically different, but team fights don't necessarily change. Like when you're forced into a fight, you have to play it the same way you were playing it during the LCQs. You have to body stack, you play as a unit, you push when you have an advantage. You can't play timid just because you need to stay alive.
That's true. Speaking of playing timid, Asm looks like he's down and out, and Gunsy Cruz, Dark Zavid under fire from a potential mortar strike, has to reposition. Can't necessarily get the full that they want, but they have access to the buy station and have won that portion of it.
Tiff, you know what I would love? I would love that once we get to London, the two wildcard teams that make it, they have to wear like a placard around their necks or like a medal or something. Just saying like, hey, we're the wildcard team. Good luck. May the odds be ever in your favor because we have fate on our side.
Fate, luck. I mean, aliens exist. That's confirmed. And here we are just looking for our last ticket. Astro Boy, though, on your screen. Barracks. We were talking a little bit about them before we jumped into our first map 5 series of the day, but none of that matters. There's only one more ticket to London on the line. You have to be flawless. Ripper on your screen with the reposition. Trying to take down Little Mario.
All right, they're going to take the fight. Pushing up. Slight advantage here as they push the equation. Shots come through. No, Almighty goes down and wiped. What do you do if you're Ripper? You try to run out. You're going to continue to take the gunfight. Devera anxiously was awaiting this final map. Fairly solid strategist in his own right. Now the strategies have to come to a head. You push. It is a 2v2. Play patient. Do you have a jump spot? Okay. Playing around the outside. Do anything that you can to get an advantage. This is sketchy.
Yeah, but you hear the glass break. That will give it away. We've seen people break glass and reposition. Now Ripper just on the underneath.
Slowly but surely. Trying to find an angle, seeing who makes the first mistake. Spotted, little Mario running. Saw the loadout, Ripper chasing. Free fires come in. Little Mario goes big with the reach out. Absolutely horked on. That was a great gunfight win from Mario.
Mario hit the power up and then took him down.
All right, want to wrap out. Let's take a look at the map. Fairly central, kind of hanging outside of City. So you're not going to see 45 teams in the final circle that you could see in City, but still a ton of POIs in question. And off screen, by the way, and our camera on camera, DV does get wiped. So that squad will be headed to the gulag. But I don't know if Tiff, like, taking a look at that map, what do you think? Any spots stand out to you as the place to be?
Depending on where this pools, I would really set myself up in Village, Akhtar Village, and more specifically, not necessarily towards Observatory, unless it starts to allude that it's going to pull that way. Yes, but a lot of the rotations end up going through Akhtar, and I think it would be really smart for teams to kind of go that route. Team Johnny, they're one of the further southernmost teams. That's going to be squad number 5 that you probably witnessed on the map, but time exact, and Doug is raw. Nice little smoke and reset here. Squad 49 just to their south on the minimap.
Yeah, I gotta say, a team that had a lot of talking points around them, but really didn't make a move on main stage hardly at all. You know, would love to see them in London. They're storied Warzone players, specifically Doug is raw, has been around the block for a very long time. Exact was a pretty solid competitor all the way through the life cycle of Warzone. Has been split and then rejoined and splitting with former teammates and former squads. Used to actually play with Brolic, who qualified today, and tried out a new team for stage 2 and now into LCQ. It didn't pay off, but maybe it'll pay off in the wild card.
Drakota, Furkel on your screen over here, just at the tallest portion. But here's the deal. We saw a couple teams in the EU last chance qualifier wildcard map kind of enact this same playstyle when they took the further most height at Observatory and kind of just stayed up there for a bit. But as our zone continuously pulls, Team Johnny over there in Fortress is looking so good right now. You even have Team Prospect down at Sawa Village. They typically land there. And with this zone pool playing heavy, we will likely see a lot of teams that if their loadouts are in the water, pistols are coming out.
That's right. That's right. You got to have your water loadouts ready. Be prepared for anything. Danzro did a deep dive on what you need. Did you listen? That's the big question. Resource management is everything. We talked about it yesterday. The team that won had gas masks, but they played the zone perfectly at the end too. Like, they didn't just hang out in the gas with their durables. They actually played inside the zone and just kind of waited on the other teams to cycle to them. So maybe that's the key to success, or maybe it's just spin the wheel. Who knows? We will see.
The Price is Right wheel that Dandro was talking about, all I could think about was that global finals in London at the Copper Box is the real showcase that they want a ticket to.
Well, I'm telling you, certainly possible. Drifts grabbed a 3-piece with a precision airstrike potentially. Was that what that was? Drift's going massive here, pushing the equation, gonna get a team wipe by himself. Unreal. Drift's on 5 eliminations. Maybe this is their play style. Drift's legit ride, just gonna fly at every team they see. The other team's playing timid. Confidence is key. You're gonna win your gunfights.
I think a lot more teams are going to be way more timid now than they were ever. So it makes sense that Drifts is like, all right, I'm getting aggressive. JC Baby, Iceman Isaac, you were talking about Iceman Isaac. Very intelligent when it comes to just like rotation, specifically a lot in these solo YOLOs, just an absolute grinder. And I love the utilization of Claymores. We were talking about it. I think Dandro brought it up with OP Mark. He's like, I'm not ashamed to sit in a building with 5 Claymores. Look, It doesn't matter. This is for the last spot to London. Do what you have to do.
I'm telling you, this is a team that I think really has a good chance of winning it. They're going to be analyzing the zone. Ice is a great Warzone head. It's just a matter of putting it together for tourneys. And for a wildcard spot like this, I think they've got a good chance. Again, though, when you think of a good chance, let's even call it 10% chance. You go from like a 2 or 3% chance on paper to a 10% chance. That's a massive leap, and you have a massive advantage over other people on paper, but it's still a 10% chance. Like, anything can happen. Anybody can win. So although they have an advantage, may not take it. We'll see. Water strats apparently is a couple teams' favored response to the zone given. Corazite in water, Symphony in water.
Ooh, Huskerrs, Mutex, Jesus Jr. lost out on the top 4 by 1.8 points. Huskerrs does not want to feel that again and will likely try to play the best game of Warzone in his entire life right now. And they've had some really good macro rotations throughout our 5-map series, consistently rotating ahead of absolutely everyone. And Huskerrs' survivability towards those endgame top 5s specifically have been really impeccable. We saw them kind of try to get the drop on Chrissy's team when we had the quarry-ish ending, and unfortunately didn't make it through. But if you were to take a win, this would be the one that is definitely needed.
Yeah, it's so funny because you have to be totally unbiased in these circumstances, just thinking about players and their history in not only the Warzone space, but just generally in the Battle Royale space. I mean, Huskerrs is up there with the true veterans. I mean, there's no one, nearly anyone, probably not in this tournament at all, that has as much experience as Huskerrs in Battle Royales and in winning Battle Royales just on paper. But will that translate to a wildcard game? I don't know. Maybe, again, a couple percentage points in their favor, but they're going to have to execute when the time comes.
Swagg, Duffy, Symphony, we last saw them in the water on the outskirts of airport, now making their way into the actual building. Want to maybe try to get some high ground and maybe hold teams out that are rotating a little bit late. But even then, they're riding right on that circle. You can see Team Royalize out to their right, kind of running straight towards Russ and Jerky and Hobu. This is going to be tough because all the teams are likelihood have already made it towards that most left-turn side, and I think a lot of these endgame rotations are going to be absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, this is going to be really tough, especially if there's a ton of water. It's going to be wacky. Hopefully teams are thinking about that like we talked about with the loadout, but we'll see. Especially if it's even close to the water, you could have a moving circle that pushes everybody to the water. It's going to be chaos. I'm excited about it. It was chaos yesterday. It's going to be chaos today. We're already knowing that's going to happen. I'm just excited for that overhead view with all of the teams in that tiny little circle, wherever it is. Here we go. Sean J off into the corner. Fantastic content creator in the space. Been around for a while now, making great content on YouTube, streaming. Had an unfortunate turn of events today in the tourney, but still here, having a chance to go to London. Job's not done. One map.
You know, I love that you bring up Sean J as well, because that's the issue, right? She grinds out time and time again. We'll get back to that later, because Future as game is just full sending Taj, the last member. Squad 47 will be wiped there, but back on over. She hit the timeline right after our Map 5 series and was like, dude, I give my all to this game every single day, and I just wish that I had a consistent roster to grind with and grow with. And I think that's half the battle of finding that consistent trio that you actually just mesh and have the cohesion with. And that's what we're looking for. And a lot of the teams that do have that chem are the teams that made it through early on.
That's a great shout. Chemistry is always on top when it comes to the Warzone competitive scene. You see it with TBE, and they're going to be awaiting their competition in London. Everybody's looking at that trio as a team that's going to take it all. They've proven it time and time again that when it comes down to the biggest moments in Warzone history, as one of the most storied trios of all time, they're likely in the equation every single time you run this London land back in the multiverse, if you will. 10 times over. How many times is TBE in the top 3? I think it's close to 10.
A lot of teams looking to prove themselves on LAN as well. There really haven't been that many Warzone LANs, maybe just at least 2, I think, throughout since the beginning of Verdansk. And to call yourself a winner of a massive Warzone tournament is one thing, but to prove it on LAN just sits that much better.
Well, Ripper got eliminated here. sometime off screen, and Almighty and Devera have yet to pick him up, and they're in a pretty decent spot, but you're having to contest other squads. And if you start moving around too much, you're going to run into some team that's all bunkered up with claymores and deployable covers, like this Trek squad. Like, I mean, sometimes you just kind of got to pick a spot, and then when the next circle comes, then you got to make a decision on what you want to do. If you're just constantly moving around, I mean, it's almost like a game of hide and seek, right? It's like sometimes you want to move to a more favorable position and maybe a better hiding spot or what have you, but sometimes it's kind of just, hey, bet on the fact that your spot right now is actually not that bad, and you don't want to get caught in transition.
Or just be like Watch Waldo and hold an angle with an RPG. You come around the corner, think you're gonna take about a nice fight, and you just get freaking blown up. But here's the deal, Goj. We're 15 plus minutes into this map. We only have 2 teams that have completely fallen here and are out of the race at 116 players. We saw the layer cake kind of go down inside of Village. I think that's where it actually ended up in the wildcard map. And here we go. Scum and Unrational Jace making a play for Sean J, Tapify, and Kush.
Drill charges to ward off any advances, pushes Unrational down to the bottom floor, allows them to hop, skip, and a jump over on the rooftops like it's Aladdin. Run away from the people in charge. Run away from the team hunting you down. It looks like Unrational is going to say, that's fine. We're going to move on. They're going to go over towards Team 25. That's Team Juju. That could be an interesting fight should they elect to fight each other. 2 teams that were in contention in the top 10, a chance to make it to London, both missed out just by several points. Look at them. You can see them over on the right-hand side. Team 25 just on the upper story of Unrational, Scum, and Foreign Jace.
It's going to be tough. Meanwhile, Hobu Jerky going big, but not a lot of fighting if they don't have to yet. But yes, this coexisting will not last.
This is such a hard stairwell to push. I don't think you take this fight, and I think Unrational knows it. They're just going to be listening for footsteps. We're seeing interesting weapon choices. I mean, we're sticking to the meta for the most part, but there was a moment there we saw 3 RPGs on main stage, by the way, with Watch Waldo's team, I'm pretty sure. Likely you're going to see some other crazier things as well, because, well, anything goes that's inside of this ranked playlist. Anything goes that's inside of our World Series of Warzone rule set.
All right, Huskerrs, Mutex, Jesus Jr., they're making their rotation in. You've got Xenon, Emrius, and Blast nearby. Huskerrs tries to evade.
Oh, no.
Good smoke. You can see he possibly has Tempered there. Only needed 2 plates to fully heal back up. Tempered made such a world of a difference in that map number 5 for Nate Dogg, and Huskerrs here paying off for him.
Yeah, Huskerrs will never not have Tempered ever again in his entire life, right? Oh man, so brutal. Such a close game, but still an opportunity. They're in it on this peninsula here on the edge. A couple teams floating around, swimming with the sharks. Some teams sticking to mainland. Where will the circle go? We talk about mitigating RNG, Tiff. I mean, this is a constant calculation for all these teams. The last team standing makes London, period. In a sentence, 1 kill, 30 kills, doesn't matter.
Look, I'm not against playing in the water right here. The issue is once that circle starts to pull back to land, potentially on this peninsula, you are just going to get completely shot trying to get back onto land, and that's going to be really tough. Xenon, Blast, lost out on Emrius, bringing in the mortar. Trying to get the players off their roof, but they're inside on the 2nd story, not holding the exact roof, so nothing big gonna be there. But it does work out in their favor.
Nice win. I saw Drakota is hanging out like on the docks. I think he's kind of docked his pirate ship there, hanging out, waiting for any of the little swimmers to come up and try to shoot back. Otherwise, they're just gonna hold that position until the next zone. Now, if you take a look at it, look at this. This Treasure Island in dead center. This is farmland here for us. It's farming time, gentlemen. Get your scopes ready. Try to scope out the fishies in the water. It's like shooting quite literally fish in a barrel as the zone continues to close in. This is nuts.
This is what I was worried about. Slacked able to get out with his life. Looks like a loadout or potential mobile buy being called in right there. Maybe for people that are looking to get a pistol weapon, they've probably got the loadout made and they can just go ahead and get in it. Meanwhile, Russ getting absolutely annihilated with incoming streaks, just trying to dive behind the palm trees and play the little Treasure Island Cove over here. But look at all the teams on the minimap that have to rotate in and likely will seek to kind of go towards that island, but on mainland, on the peninsula, things are breaking all out. B-Mark down, Grev and Casper both alive still.
I gotta say, of all the circles we could have gotten, this is going to be such an interesting one. So drastically different from the EU LCQ wildcard final circles that was so deep inside of mainland into the village with a lot of buildings around cover, and then it moved out into the open, and it was kind of a fight in this kind of open position. We got people swimming underneath the docks. Some water play is going to happen. A large section of mainland. This is almost like its own micro map that people are having to learn and navigate, because this is just a place that you don't play that often, especially not with this many teams. People dying everywhere. We can't commentate all of them, but the people hiding underneath the docks have been spotted, and it's Desmond, F-Tac Siege. I'm telling you, you gotta have your water loadout.
Look, the entire kill feed's going up with F-Tac Sieges. Almighty TJ Ripper trying to stay alive, but Desmond cutting them down. Not going to leave anything to chance. They already prepped for the entirety of this, and if they can just hang out by this dock, maintain these loadouts, and deny people from getting their pistols, they're only going to have to worry about, should this pull more into the peninsula, they might be okay.
Yeah, Nico Infinite, Desmond, Crowder, a team I shouted out, having fantastic comms. They've been working on their chemistry all week leading up to LCQs. It didn't pay off, but they had a great tournament. They could put it all together in the final map. They've gotten better every single map that I've seen them compete in. We're down to 31 teams, and they're still in it, fighting on edge of circle. And look who's next to them. Ryda, IQ, putting down some fire. That's going to be a tough fight. Nico versus Ryda, and Huskerrs team still hanging out inside the buildings. A couple smokes, and it looks like IQ, Ryda, and Booyah are going to back up.
The peninsula. We're pulling more mainland. This is scary. Nico, Crowder, Desmond on the lower right-hand side of your screen, encompassed inside that smoke, trying to hit the rotation straight into IQ and Ryda, but they're able to grab the knock onto IQ and Booyah. One last standing.
Crazy fight. IQ last alive for his team, it looks like. And look who's all three up, all alive, with every piece of resource they need to win it all. They got to continue to wrap. They got to continue to rotate. It's going to be difficult, but it's still within reach for the team on your screen. Crowder likely with the clear comms, keeping them poised. Take a look at the overhead view. This is such a fun one. So different from EU. Certainly a ton of teams, but not nearly as many as we had in EU going into the 7th circle. This is exactly what we wanted to see, and all of a sudden, Crowder left all alone as more fights happening inside.
Ooh, this is going to be a big one for Blast, Emrius, and Xenon, winning that fight, holding center zone, just maintaining every single angle while the entire peninsula explodes around them. Squad 4 is going to be wiped. That's Iceman Isaac. They're down and out, but Desmond, Crowder still alive. Lost out on Nico early on. We're going to have to take a big 2v2 against Dark, Savid, and co.
Wow.
Here comes the rotation. They're going to have to move just a little bit.
They got a buyback here on Dez. Just huge. Mutex's team is fully healthy inside of a building, waiting patiently in zone. Watch out for Huskerrs, Mutex, and Jesus. They've got an opportunity. Still plenty of teams left on the board. 18 squads as we go into the 8th circle, and there's a team inside. Crowder in a little bit of trouble. Able to barely eke his way out with the gas mask. Just going to try to lay low. No. Does get Nico up into the air, though. An opportunity. Look at the moving circle. Everyone having to move dramatically besides Team 35. That's Delski's in the best position currently, where there's about to be an onslaught of 17 teams pushing his way.
My question is someone going to immediately jump into the water and try to rotate around? Huskerrs and co, they have the world stacked against them. One of the furthest most points, and they are sending it straight down the middle. Smoke and run. One smoke to Huskerrs' name. The survivability is going to have to be crazy. There are 31 players left in this lobby. Mutex going down.
You almost need to leave him at this point. Huskerrs trying to get to position. There's going to be some sneaky little bush Wookiees. There you go, Taylor. I said it. Bush Wookiees galore, especially these bushes near the edge of circle. Desmond's still floating right behind Huskerrs. Huskerrs going big to make sure Grev can't run in, but he overdoes it. Grev's out of here. Huskerrs, a massive effort to maintain position. Has one of the best spots on the map, but there's some swimmers right around him. Gotta be careful. And we've got a full team of 3 here with Blast, Riaz, and Xenon. They could go big here on edge of circle, trying to push in. They've got an Overwatch position. They've got some gas masks to play around with, but I don't think it's gonna be enough time.
Oh, Hobu making the wrap on Huskerrs, Mutex, and Jesus. Russ, though, going down from the air. This is going to be the gnarliest ending we have ever seen, and an airstrike coming in from Gooey. Let me just say that just took out the entirety of the squad.
I think Gooey knocked like 6 with that airstrike. Chrissy in a position to win it all. 6 teams remaining. Unbelievable saving of the precision to the final moments, and it's paying off. Look at all the teams eliminating each other, but it's a full team of 3. Crowder down below. Desmond, Nico, they're going for the res here on Nico. They're all 3 up. This is going to be a battle of a 3v3 potentially for a spot to London. Will the coach do it? The coaches of all coaches. Nico, Crowder, Desmond, Chrissy, Blast still alive. Colony still alive. Mireille off in the corner. Tiff, it could be anybody's game, but I'm looking at Desmond.
The numbers are in their advantage. We knew what they had to work on. It was the comms. I can imagine that Crowder is in there IGLing his entire life away, but not before Blast being a solo on 8 eliminations inside. As that circle starts closing, who will be the last one standing? Juju's even in it.
Desmond's got 9 kills, able to potentially res Nico. No, lets him be beat. Blast trying to find him in the water and finds Juju. 3 teams left. Tiff, this is the final moments. Blast is going big, finds one. Getting shot from behind. There's another player here. It's Clay in gas. Blast is down at Desmond, Crowder, Nico, somehow all 3 alive against Clay. Will the coach do it? Can Crowder finish it off? Yes, we will be seeing Crowder, Desmond, and Nico in London with the wild card victory. I'm not saying I called it. They performed, they executed, clear comms, all 3 alive in the final fight. They not only did it with flying colors.
Coach, if there was any time to be right, it is now. Your predictions?
Yep.
Let's run it back.
Behind.
Yep. Oh, I have a mask.
I'm smoking and getting breath.
Okay.
I'm smoking and getting breath.
I'm killed. I have a mask. I'm coming back in.
They're gonna be on the dock. Behind.
Dead.
Nice. I'm good. Nice, says.
I'm smoking.
No, he peeked over. Hit the res dead. Hit the res dead.
Watch out. I'm really weak.
Here.
Popping plates.
Play down.
Yep.
I am. Oh, dude. I'm coming. Nico, you might be able to get me. I don't even have a mask.
On top.
3v1.
Oh my god! Let's go! Holy shit!
Oh my fucking! Let's fucking go, guys!
God, that was fucking crazy!
Let's fucking go!
Holy shit!
Dude, that was fucking madness.
Oh my god!
Oh.
Tiff, with everything on the line, they did it. The comms, even in the tensest of moments, were immaculate. Tiff, I gotta say, I've been DMing with Crowder all week.